Hello, everyone. It's Jerry at the Fledge. Welcome to another episode of Every Damn Day. And I want to thank everybody for the feedback you've been giving me on that intro. We're going to do a couple of things. The beat's a little bit off for me when I come in, so we're going to hip hop it up a little bit. And we're also going to make the transition a little bit smoother. But thanks for your feedback, and we'll be doing another one here real soon. And today on the show, we've got our good friend John Horford out there in oops, try that. Sorry, had a trouble getting you on the screen. How you doing today, John?
Doing well, doing well. How about you?
I'm doing great. Hey, I'm gonna start out just describing myself real quick. I'm Jerry. I got brown hair. I got brown eyes. I'm sitting in my office in the Fledge with my headset on, and I'm wearing a Release Fitness, Aurelia out there doing good work with the community and helping people get comfortable in gyms. So, where you at today, John? How you doing?
Doing well. I'll follow your lead. I have brown hair. I've brown. It's dark brown actually. It's like dark brown hair, brown eyes, a beard. Um, just wearing a jacket, sitting in my car, waiting to go train some kids in about an hour.
Oh, all right. So you got is that a class? Is that a camp
It's
or
just some individual skill sessions. I have a few different time slots today with different groups of kids.
yeah.
It's not necessarily it's just I describe them as skill sessions. I don't charge for them. I mean it's just something I do to just help kids to develop better habits and then to improve their skill levels.
Yeah. So before we jump into why you're doing that, uh, let me ask you a couple things. Like, tell us about you, like where you were born, where you went to school, and all that.
So I was born in Lansing and lived in Lansing, actually right off Canarsie Street until I was in third grade, and then I moved to Grand Ledge. Went to Grand Ledge, went to Delta Center, went to Hayes, Grand Ledge High School grad 2010, then went to the University of Michigan for my undergrad, 4 years there, 1 year of grad school at the University of Florida, um, a little bit of pro basketball for about 5 years, and now I am retired from that and just working with my wife. We have a few businesses, and then on the side, just training kids, developing kids, mentoring, those types of
Uh,
things.
so I thought you were always from Grand Ledge. Like I thought your family's been there 100 years. I don't. Your family's such a staple in Grand Ledge. When I think about that, like when I
Yeah,
start naming who do I know in Grand Ledge, and I lived there for 20 years, I think you guys are on the top of the list all the time. So I was a little surprised. I thought you had always been there.
yeah. There's a lot of us, and we stick out, especially when we first moved to Grand Ledge. I don't think I had a black classmate till I was like in seventh or eighth grade. Um, so there weren't a lot of black people, and we're also all huge. So
Yeah.
it's easy to stick out that way. But yeah, no, we're originally from Lansing. My mom's actually from Carson City, Michigan, which is the middle of nowhere, if you know where
Yeah.
that is.
I do know where Carson City is. I think it's up Mount Pleasant. You start heading west, and it's up in that area, right? Like up north,
A little
northwest.
south of that. Like on your way to
Okay.
Mount Pleasant, you'll go kind of by it.
Yeah.
Yep.
I know that Shannon has my wife has family there too.
Oh, okay.
So
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
So what U of M? You were a basketball player there for a while. You got your undergraduate there. I was a wrestler there, so you and I have that tie.
Yep.
You happy with how they're doing this year?
Yeah. It's always good to see people have success in what they're doing. Especially, I don't know the guys on the team that well. I know a couple of them, but I do know Jawan. His oldest son and I played AAU basketball together. So Jawan used to come to our tournaments when we were in high school and stuff. And he's just a really good guy. And the players obviously love him. So it's great when The coach can foster those types of relationships with players that transcend basketball, which is what it appears to be. I don't know like exactly what it is, but that's what it appears to be, and that's what I've heard.
Yeah, I like that guy too. We crossed paths at U of M when I was there, and being on the wrestling team, we always got to meet the basketball players because every Wednesday we would play against them. I don't know if they still do that, but it was always fun. I don't think they let the wrestlers around those guys anymore.
No, we actually, so they were redoing Chrysler when I was there. So we actually had to lift at the wrestling facility. So us and the wrestlers would be working out together and around each other a lot. And I had some great friends that were wrestlers when I was in Michigan.
Yeah. So let's jump into what you're doing now. Some of the businesses, some of the projects you got happening.
So the main one for me right now that most of my time is going towards is it's actually two. One's a business and then one's a group. So the business is Blueprint Athletes, and I call it a habit development app because the point of the app is to provide structure and to provide workouts for players that will help them to gradually improve their skill level versus just like throwing people into the fire at levels that they're just not equipped to handle. So that's my main project right now. It's going well. We just got done with almost over about 14-month period where we were developing the app. It's on Android and iOS. It's a beautiful app. They did an awesome job with it. There's some great features that make it an ideal tool for anyone who's coaching basketball or even training kids, just because you're able to use our library, which has, I think at this point, over 700 drills, and you can pick and choose which drills to create. You can create your own plan, and you can like send it to a player based on their weaknesses. So if they wanted to work on their game at the park or at home, there's strength conditioning, there's at-home strength conditioning, there's mental content on there, and then there's tons of basketball content. So I know that once people start to really like utilize the app and get more familiar with it, it'll be something that will be invaluable to teams everywhere. And there already are, we're fortunate enough to have, a pretty large amount of users at the moment. Surprisingly, though, it's one of those things that's super interesting because, I have kids that I talk to literally weekly from all over the country and all over the world. Like there are people on every single continent except for Antarctica that have the app and are using it. And I talk to them all the time. But like getting kids from like Lansing area, like where I'm from, where I'm like helping kids the most, it's like hard to get kids to buy into it. It's so interesting, or coaches to buy into it. It's super interesting how it works like that sometimes. But
Gil Scott Heron had a song, "Home is where the hatred is," and every time I talk to entrepreneurs, they're like, "I can't get anybody in Lansing to do this, but people all over the place are doing it." And I don't mean home. I mean our hometown.
Oh no, I know what you mean. Yeah, he's not wrong.
So I'll tell you what, I see the value prop in that immediately as a wrestler. You know, wrestlers can't play basketball, right? We will tackle you before we can block a shot. But I raised a daughter who was a basketball player, and I didn't know what I was doing, and I would have loved to have an app like that. You know, she's out there. She's 12 years old, schooling me on our court in my driveway because I have no idea what I'm doing.
See, and that's honestly one of the best ways to utilize the app as well for parents who don't know what they're doing in terms of skill development for their kids. You can just use the app. There's descriptions and videos for everything. And you can literally just walk kids through basic fundamentals. Like parents underestimate, they think that they have to have this like great knowledge to be able to have an impact on their kid's life or to help them to develop skills, when all they really need is a blueprint and a little bit of patience. And a parent is fully capable of helping a kid to develop, even if it was just 1 to 2 days a week that they're working with a kid on their basic dribbling or finishing or footwork. Those things go a long way. Like it makes a huge difference. Like one extra day a week for a year, and that's 52 extra skill sessions that you wouldn't have had before. Now, you can't tell me if you've done something 52 more times than you have now that you wouldn't be better at it. Of course you would be better at it. So it's
Yeah,
just getting people to kind of shift their mentality, um, and open up their minds a little bit. And the habits that these kids end up developing are really great. Like I'm telling you, like they learn, perseverance. They learn, accountability. They learn time management. There are so many. I mean, and they learn to be gritty because you were a college level wrestler. You know, there are days when you were training where you just wanted to be like, all right, fuck this, and just like wrap it up. Screw this. I'm done. And there were days, and you came back from that, and you showed up even after you got your ass fucking beat. You showed up. You came back. You might have got your ass beat again, but you kept showing up. Like you made it to a high level. So I know that you've gone through it, just because anyone who makes it to a high level goes through it. You know, it's just, are you willing to keep standing up every time you get punched in the mouth, like every time you get
yeah,
knocked down? And a lot of people aren't, and that's okay. But for people whose goal is to, be a college basketball player or whatever it may be, I think those people need to, continue right on that path and not just give up. A lot of people give up because, a coach or, somebody said that they weren't good enough or they can't afford a trainer or whatever. Like with Blueprint Athletes, it's you always have access to a trainer. You always have a way that you can get better. There are 1,000 ways that you can get better without even having a basketball or access to a hoop. Like there's always a way. You're just limited by the way that you think. That's the
yeah.
only thing limiting these kids.
You talked a lot about it, but I really picked up on that word habit when you said it was a habit building app, and wondering if I'm not a basketball player, can the app still help me? Even if I can still learn to dribble and all that, but are there other things that it helps me get through, like that time management, like wrestling? Uh, if you were really good at basketball, you'd be a better wrestler. You know how these skills can transfer sometimes, and even the conditioning, the all of that. Do you have conditioning in the app?
Yep,
No.
yep. There's conditioning, there's strength conditioning, like a lot of weight room stuff. There's at home stuff. There's like we're adding new guides all the time too. There's like specific timed conditioning for like how long it should be. Like if you're in shape, you should be able to run these sprints this distance in this amount of time. There's also like the mental focus content on the app that is really applicable to anybody. I'm an avid philosophy reader, and I just try to take an approach to where, yes, it's basketball, it ties back into basketball, but you can like relate it to life in general, like looking at a situation. For example, like one of them is about like two players in a practice, and a coach says, somebody messed up, so everybody has to get on the line. One person's like, oh, this is a punishment, this is terrible, I didn't do anything, like why do I have to do this, like, woe was me. And then the other person's like, oh, awesome. This is a chance for me to work on my mental toughness and to get in better shape and to work on my competitive nature. And I'm going to get first in this sprint. Like if you go into it with one mentality versus the other, you're almost always going to get a better result when you have the mentality of making the situation work for you no matter what it is, you know?
Yeah, yeah, and that's actually a very entrepreneurial mindset too, right? I mean, that can transfer later on to life. Obviously, it has with you. Those disciplines that you have in sport, that mindset that you have in sport, makes you get back up and say, "All right, they're challenging me. I'm gonna show them. I'm gonna do what I need to do." So, is the app free, or is there uh,
So
in-app purchases or something?
So the way that it works is the first week is you have access to the full app completely free. After that, it is the first day of every guide is free. And I think we have at this point like 60 something guides. Each guide's a month long. So it's like 60 something free days. But at the same time, I also have given away easily over 1,000 subscriptions. Boys and Girls Club of Lansing and
Yeah,
Grand Rapids. Cool People. It's a nonprofit out of Battle Creek. Some of the teams that I work with from like Detroit and some other areas, like I have no issue giving the app away to people who can't afford it. Here's the thing though, the monthly price isn't that expensive. It's only $6.99 a month, so $6.99. So not very expensive, but I understand that for some people, it would just be the money would be better off going somewhere else. So that's why we've given away the app for free so much. So we're totally open to doing that stuff. But then at the same time, there are also people that, and it's a weird mentality that people have. And I found this doing free camps and free training all these years. If something's free, people don't value it as much. Like, it's crazy. Like, every camp I've ever done, I've left at least 30 spots for kids to have like free admission to the camp. And I've only charged for my camps like 3 times in 10 years of doing it. And and every time, like, almost all, like, half the people who are going to come on the free scholarship type thing just don't show up because they didn't invest anything into it. So it's like they don't lose anything by not showing up except for an opportunity to develop themselves and to get better and to learn. But it's interesting how people have that like sort of mentality, or like people will be like, oh, you train kids for free? Like, why is it free? Like, because you're not that, like, it's not that good. It doesn't help them that much. And I'm like, you know, I don't want to be arrogant or come off in that way, but there are very few people that have put as much time into kids and developing kids and mentoring kids as I have, especially for free. I mean, most people don't do it for free. I mean, I've put in an insane amount of hours with kids. I have a ton of experience and a lot of success cases. So it's just one of those things where you just have to deal with human nature and make the situation work for you.
I think some people, you know, something I love about you and your family, because we go back a while, at least our families do, is that you're so kind and so compassionate, and you're not trying to be billionaires out there and buying up all the property and making, I don't think you are. And I think sometimes
I don't
people,
think we are either.
I think sometimes people, there's a stigma with free that we need to get over, because some of us just want to help, right? We just want to make our community stronger. We want to give kids the opportunity that we had. And our family just loves your family. I just have to say that.
Yeah,
Probably too
no,
many,
our,
probably
our
say it too
family
many times.
our family loves your guys' family too. And yeah, the stigma with free is interesting, but I get it because a lot of people have been, a lot of people, they have a bad experience. They get taken advantage of. But I mean, I say it, I mean it. Like, it's one of those things. But at the same time, I do feel like even with like free training sessions and things of that nature, kids who really have a goal of making it to the next level, you got to put in time on your own too, and as somebody who played on competed on the next level, you understand how that goes. Like, if you only show up to practice and only do that and don't do any extra lifting or running or conditioning or any skill work outside of that, there's like almost no way that you can accomplish your goals. Almost no way.
Yeah. I had a nemesis in Flint. His name's John Fisher, and he turned out to be he was on the alternative team for the Olympics. It's who beat me in the state finals, and I just always thought, he's working. I got to keep working. I know
Yeah.
he's working, and I was obsessed with that. So if Shannon threw up your Facebook page here in the comments, if people go to the Blueprint Athletes Official on Facebook, can they get to your website? Can they get to the app and all of that?
I don't do much on the official page, even though I should. I connected my Instagram, which is blueprint.athletes, to my Facebook story. So all my basketball updates from the page go to my John Horford Facebook. But then if people just go to blueprintathletes.com, they can read up on it a little bit more. There's an Apple icon and an Android icon at the top of the screen. They can just click on whichever they have and it will link them directly to the app. And yeah, I mean, it really, like, yeah, it's for basketball players, but at the same time, anybody who wanted to get their mind right and to like have options for like lifting and conditioning at home and the ability to customize their own workouts based off of what they have access to and what they like, you can use the app too. You can use the
Yeah.
app and it'll get you better. Like, it really, truly will get you better.
I sort of feel like checking it out and getting Raven on it and making her do some drills and see if it would have worked for us back then, which I'm
Dude,
sure
yeah.
that it would have.
If Raven, yeah, you should test it out. I don't know if she still plays basketball, but
She says she does. We'll see.
we'll see. You can always send her up to the gym with us too.
Um, so Blueprint Athletes is one thing you said. You said there's a business and a organization. You want to talk about the organization a little bit?
Well, the organization is Grand Ledge United, and I'm the co-chair of Grand Ledge United. And our goal essentially right now is just working on making Grand Ledge a more diverse and equitable and inclusive community. We have members and we work closely with the school board, with administration, with teachers, with local business owners, with the religious community. And the goal is literally just to make Grand Ledge a better, more welcoming place where no one has to feel like they don't belong. We obviously know that it's impossible to make everybody feel 100% of the time, but
Yeah.
there are things in Grand Ledge in terms of, holding people accountable and, improving the diversity of the staff at the school, for example. Businesses being more welcoming. I mean, people are like shocked every time I say this, but there are restaurants in Grand Ledge I've never gone to and I never want to go to, like, and places in Grand Ledge where I just would not feel comfortable going there. And and people are like, oh man, you're crazy, like there's no racism in Grand Ledge, like you can do whatever you want. It's like, that's not true. Like, I've experienced racism in Grand Ledge. Most of it's like microaggressions, but
Yeah.
but at the same time, I'm 6'10", 285 pounds. Like, not that many people are gonna like say anything. So yeah, we're working on a lot of things, though. We actually just put out a survey. We're surveying people based on their experience. If they're from Grand Ledge or lived in Grand Ledge or went to school in Grand Ledge or worked in Grand Ledge, it would be awesome if people, filled out that survey. It's going around. If you went to Grand Ledge United on Facebook and looked up the group, it should be at the top. And
Yeah.
it's a really important survey just because there are a lot of people, and there are people in influential positions in Grand Ledge who just absolutely flat out are unwilling to accept that Grand Ledge is known as like a racist community. They're like, that's not true. It's like, you're an old white man. It's like, I get that you haven't experienced that, but you're not trying to see things through the eyes of other people. And you can't just tell people that their experiences and what they went through like never happened.
Right.
It's a battle though, but people have been very, especially the school. The school has been very, very proactive. They're
Yeah.
already working on, changing curriculum, improving curriculum, making it a little bit less whitewashed. Um, I'm actually part of another committee. It's called EDIC through the high school, and I'm on the hiring subcommittee. And we're working on putting in a plan for Grand Ledge to be proactive in the hiring process, whereas in the past it was kind of just like if you know somebody from Grand Ledge, it's like an inner circle more type of thing, and they weren't proactive about going out and finding the best candidates to come in and be teachers. Not that there aren't great teachers at Grand Ledge, but obviously Grand Ledge is like 99.9% white staff. So one of our goals is making sure that the staff reflect the student population. So,
Yeah.
really, really diversifying.
And the student population. So I grew up in Lansing. I went to Lansing Eastern. Grand Ledge was I'm sorry, I'm just going to say, a bunch of farm boys that were racist, that hated us. We'd show up with brown and black kids on our wrestling team, and they wouldn't want to wrestle them. And I've seen so much racism in wrestling against the people that are my best friends. And it's one of my passions is to try to help black and brown people fight that and to try to educate people. What do you think Grand Ledge is turning a corner? Do you think, we're all still learning everything. We all people have blind spots. Do you think they're starting to discover those blind spots? And I am very proud of the school district, by the way, for how they've been handling everything since George Floyd and the incident with Brian and all of that.
Yeah, they are doing they're doing a really good job. Sorry, real quick, I'm blanking on the question.
Oh, what I was just saying is, do you think they're turning a corner
Oh,
as a
okay,
community?
I slowly but surely, I think there are people in Grand Ledge who are much more vocal and are being, you know, what I would call just like an outspoken, uh, an obvious ally, a vocal ally versus like being a closeted non-racist. Like they're actively speaking out and against the racism that they see in the community. They put signs in their yard. They're um, engaging with materials to educate themselves. They're showing up to these meetings and demanding change. Like these are the things that need to happen, especially in America, because um, America as a whole, but Grand Ledge, Lansing area, because the fact of the matter is that in America, white people are still, it really is a caste system, right? And white people still are at the top and they do have the most influence. So if it's only, black and brown people complaining about these things, it's like, well, it's black and brown people issues. But when white people start also saying, hey, this isn't right, this needs to change, you need to listen to these people, you need to, you know, um, stop invalidating their experience, then people start to listen a little bit more. I mean, it's important to have allies, in
Hmm.
this.
And it can be tough to be an ally in Grand Ledge. So one of these places you're probably talking about, I was sitting there having a meal once, and I heard a guy, a Trump supporter, talking about, you know, make all the Mexicans clean it up and do all of this stuff. And I called him out on it. I said something to him. It ended in violence, and the police had to get involved. And so being an ally in Grand Ledge can sometimes be hard. But again, that was, what, 5 years ago, maybe. Um, but I mean, I see these people, I see them putting their voice out there. And I think that, I don't know, I feel like there's hope now that, we haven't lived there in a couple of years now, but we lived there for 20 years and I felt hopeless sometimes. And I see the work you're doing and I'm so happy. Uh, yeah, so I'm glad we're turning that corner.
Yeah, and there are a lot, and like I said, there are so many people involved in the work, so it's not just even a small group. It's a lot of people in a lot of influential positions in Grand Ledge that are actively working to make it a better place. And there are people within the group, myself included, that are here to hold them accountable, for what they say, because everything they've said sounded good. And, we have a long way to go, and there are some other boxes that still need to be checked. But so far, I mean, they've kept their word, and I would say most of the people, especially, school administration and board members have been, they've been straight shooters so far.
Is there anybody in particular you'd like to give a shout out to, or you want to just keep it nebulous?
Just like that we're working with, like within Grand Ledge
Yeah.
United. I mean,
Well, I think
I guess
Rachel's
okay.
working hard. She's a good example, probably.
Yeah, so yeah, Rachel Kuhn, she's the other co-chair of Grand Ledge United, and she's been like invaluable. She's amazing. She genuinely cares so much, and we literally talk about this stuff every single day.
Yeah.
Like she has a true passion for it, and it's really convenient because she also has a policy company. So like when we needed the survey, she already has like survey people on her staff, and that's what they specialize in. So I gave them like a rough outline, and they were able to like clean it up and um, get it online and send it out. So it was really easy for people to fill out and for us to collect that information. And more than that, even like we have like a bunch of decals being made that we're working on. We're going to work on getting them out to businesses in the Lansing area. That's why we're talking about. We're working with the chamber and we're working with Leap on. We're doing that next week, and she has someone on staff that's like doing that. So it's just like super convenient, and she's been fantastic. I mean, if I was to bring anyone up, I would say she's been we're not making the progress that we're making currently, without her help. And there's so many people doing so many good things, that it would be impossible it'd be hard to name them all. I
Yeah.
could sit here and name them all for the next
So
few minutes, but
I don't want to put you in that position because you
yeah,
might upset somebody for not naming them. So I know how that is.
yeah, it's
Um,
tough.
so, um, what would you say your mission is? You're helping kids over here. You're helping your community over here. What mission are you on, and what's something you do every damn day to push that mission forward?
Um, Something I do. Okay, so first I would say my mission. I'll use the mission of Blueprint Athletes just because I feel like it embodies kind of the way I try to live my life, and it's just it's be humble, help others, stay the course. I try to have humility in everything that I do, and realize that I am absolutely not the center of the world, and that to give and to help and to assist is probably the most fulfilling thing. It's like, yeah, I do it for free, but it's super fulfilling for me to help these kids, to mentor these kids, to help them grow and watch them do better. So I really do get something out of it. And then and I guess that's the help others, the be humble, the help others, and then just the stay the course is just continuing to do the work even when you don't feel appreciated, even when things seem slow, even when you feel like you're a fucking idiot and you should just be doing anything else besides what you're doing. Um, and just knowing that if you have good intentions and you're helping people, I feel like you're on the right path. And something I do every damn day is I reflect on myself and what I'm doing and how I'm thinking and how I'm interacting with people, and you know how can I make myself better, and how can I help the surrounding community? How can I help improve people's lives? And I know that obviously it's not like, you can change the world by yourself, but I feel like when you get enough people doing enough things consistently, and they don't have to be these large, over the top, you need $1 million for, like, even just trying to be kind to everybody you meet, and maybe smile at someone, hold the door, give someone a genuine compliment if you feel like it's something that is legitimate. um, it doesn't have to be anything, it doesn't have to be anything crazy. I think about that a lot, just times in my life where, like, one time, this time sticks out in my mind to me. It's one of my first memories of just someone doing something. I have no idea who that person was to this day, but I just appreciate what they did. So when I was a little kid, I used to go to Aim High all the time, and the guy who raised me wasn't actually really my dad. It was this white guy who was actually a custodian at Aim High. He basically raised me, and so I used to go there and I used to clean Aim High with him. So if you saw a little kid with an afro, like, cleaning floors and picking up trash and pop bottles at Aim High, it was probably me. But one time I was standing by a candy machine, and I was just like looking at it for a second. I was like, I was a kid, I was hungry, I like wanted a snack, whatever. And this woman came and just gave me $1, and she was just like, "Here you go." And I was just like, I have no idea who that woman is. I don't remember her face or anything, but like, that act of kindness was just, she didn't have to do it, and it was just something that I appreciated so much. And it's one of my first memories of just like genuinely appreciating something that someone did. She didn't stick around, she didn't record it, she didn't say, are you grateful for this? She was just like, she knew I wanted a snack, she gave me $1, she said, "Here you go," and just walked away. And I don't think I've ever seen her again. Like, and that's like the beauty of it all. Like, someone that has no part in my life besides that one moment can still be a memory that I have at 29. Like, you know what I mean?
So that was like 20 years ago or a
Yeah,
little less?
that was probably 20 years ago.
One
20 years ago.
dollar 20 years ago changed the life of someone as amazing as you. And I think you're amazing because you've done a lot in your 29 years. I mean, you've experienced a lot with the D1 athletes, the pro athletes, but also, you grew up in a rough place to grow up as a black or brown person. Grand Ledge isn't always easy, right? So
Yep.
yeah, that's amazing. Give someone $1 today. You might change their life for the next
Yeah.
20 years.
Yeah. My only request would be don't record it. It just
Oh yeah,
part of me dies every time I see stuff like that. Like, look at this great thing I'm doing for this person. Like, it's like, dude, get out of here with that. Like, I understand promoting other people being generous, but at the same time, it becomes about vanity once you're posting it and trying to get like likes and views and comments on something like that. Like, do good that no one will ever know. Like, and no one will ever know that you did good, and find a way to be okay with that. And I think it's one of like the best, I don't know, it's like one of the best experiences and like feelings in life, in my personal opinion. Like,
yeah.
there there are just things, there are things I've done that no one will ever know that I did or that I was a part of. And I don't know, there's something like beautiful in that.
I think there's a silent confidence and a silent humility, that I think both those things can just really change the world. You don't need. I understand what you're saying. I think everyone does. Hey, we got to keep rolling because I know you got to go coach some kids and change
Yeah.
some lives. Um, Yesterday on the show, I had a young man named James Henson who started the Young Black Panthers Party, and he's got chapters in I think 7 different states now around the country. And his question to you is, do you ever see racism within your basketball camps or your teams? And if so, what do you do? How do you deal with it?
um I wouldn't say that I've seen, and I don't want to be the judge of, what's legitimate racism and what's not, even though I am a
Mm,
black man. I haven't seen like blatant, like just straight up derogatory racism, but the thing when I hear that question, I think about when people say things like, "Oh, white people shoot and black people don't." Like, if you're black, you got to take it to the rim. Like, if you're white, then you're a shooter. Like, things like that, and just trying to educate kids and you know just show them that, like, that's obviously not the case. Or like, oh, white people make better point guards because they're more intelligent, just like the black quarterback thing. It's like white people make better quarterbacks because they're more intelligent than black people, which was a common way of thinking. And I know
yeah,
there are still coaches that are like in the NFL that probably think that way to this day, which is crazy. But some of those little like racist stereotypes are still prevalent today in 2021, which it still kind of blows my mind. But I guess it's just part of the education process.
I think I saw that a lot. Don't follow the white kid, right? The white kid's gonna make the free throws,
Yeah.
and I saw that a lot. And in wrestling, wrestling was very racist. I don't want to wrestle this black guy because he's gonna have long nails. That was always people were saying that all the time, or their hair's gonna scratch me or whatever. It was bullshit. It was all just a way to not to be racist. And when you called it out, it might turn violent. In a locker room with a bunch of athletes where you're saying, "Hey, you're being a racist," and they might turn on you. It's tough. I see
Yeah.
I see how cops get quiet in the locker room. You know, After somebody says something racist, it's hard to call them out because it's going to turn into a fight, or it might,
It,
I guess.
it definitely can be. And I've been fortunate to work with mostly good kids and mostly younger kids. And it's a lot of them haven't been influenced in those same ways. So a lot of the kids that I work with, or none of the kids I've worked with for the most part, are racist in that way. But it makes me think of times actually when we're playing like your alma mater, Eastern, in high school. One of my AU teammates, who was a really good guy, and we played together for a long time, Ladante Henton. People would say like some of the most racist stuff to him, and just about him not being intelligent because of the way he looks, or him being like, oh, you must be 30 because like you looked, and it's just like,
Hmm.
and I used to, even though I was competing against him, we were still teammates, and he was still someone I had a lot of respect for. I just hated hearing that stuff. I was just like, what would possess you to say something like that? Like, you don't know him at all. For all you know, he could be a rocket scientist, but even if he's not, like, that's how you're gonna try to drag this dude down by saying these things, and you know nothing about him. You're basing all of this off his appearance. Like, just because his hair is the way it is and because his skin is as dark as it is, you think he's a fucking dumbass. Like, which was not true because he's not. So it's just like, that's the racism I would see, especially in high school. That was just stupid.
Yeah. So tomorrow on the show, I've got Leo Brown, who's started the Black Wall Street of Lansing and is also opening up a club on the south side called Fahrenheit. What question would you like to ask Leo?
I will ask him, if he was to die tomorrow, would he be proud of the way that he lived life today?
Yeah, and I think he's going to love that question. He's a very value centered guy, so I'm really interested in how he's going to answer that. And I flipped that on you, and I know I'm going to cringe when I say it, but if you were to die tomorrow, would you be happy with where you're at right now?
Yeah, I think I could die. I could die happy. I try to think about death and approach death daily, just
Yeah.
because it's with all of us always. Like, we think we're above it, but we're a second away. Like, what's stopping someone from speeding into this parking lot and just T-boning my car right now? And is it within the realm of possibility? It definitely is. But I think that I would be happy with the way that I've lived my life, and I'd be happy with what I'm doing today.
Yeah, we've got a group called Creative Dying that talks about death and about preparing for your death and not waiting till that last moment where you're trying to make everything happen at once and tell people you love them.
Is it based on the Ram Dass?
They get into that. So yes, but they use almost anything to
Okay.
just face death, the fact that it's going to happen. And do you want to deal with everything at the end, or you want to slowly deal with it as you approach?
Yeah.
So,
No,
but
that's fantastic. I mean, it's a great thing to do, and I think it's something that makes it, or hopefully makes, I don't know, because I'm not technically at my end yet, I guess, but hopefully it makes passing more peaceful, just
yeah,
coming to terms with our mortality.
yeah. And it's been such a tough year because people can't hold the hands of their loved ones on their deathbed and stuff
Yeah.
like that because they're not allowed in the hospitals. So, yeah. Great question, John. Did we forget anything? Anything you want to promote? I know Shannon's on it in the background, making sure we get all your links out there and get your app exposed and stuff like that. Is there anything else you want to talk about?
I mean, I would just say that if there's anybody who wants to reach out to discuss like their goals or their development or anything like that, please feel free to reach out. The best place is probably my Instagram, which is just blueprint.athletes. If you type in blueprint athletes, it'll pop up. It's like a blue basketball with a little orange slice in the
All right.
basketball. And yeah, I mean, I love talking to kids, and I really want kids, especially, I mean, I want kids everywhere to have an opportunity, but especially kids in like the Lansing area. Like, I would love to see Lansing become a place where development's taken like super seriously and become like, a basketball like mecca, which we have the kids, like we have the potential to be that. It just needs to be applied.
Yeah. And we've got roots. I mean, we've got Magic, we got the Vincents, we've got Valentine, we've got Izzo over there. I mean, we got roots here, right? It should
Yeah,
be the basketball mecca.
yeah. I mean,
So
it could be, it can be, it will
it
be,
can be. It will be.
it will be.
Um, so anything you'd like to take us out with? Oh, wait, one other quick thing. Caleb Moss, he's from Jackson. He played against you in high school. He told me John's not going to know who I am, but he definitely wanted me to say hi to you from him, and now he just said I'll be in touch, John. So,
Yeah, no,
uh,
tell them to hit me up.
all right. So hit him up, Caleb.
Yeah.
What would you like to take us out with?
Wear a mask and do something nice for somebody that can't do anything for you.
Yeah, I love that. I love that ending. So I'm going to stop right there. Everyone, every damn day, every day at 2 o'clock, and we will see you later. Thank you very much, John. Appreciate you taking the time to be on the show.
No, my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
All right, we're out.